Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the City of Healing. This is Sinette Inter Angela, your sister, coming to you this beautiful Sunday morning to do a brief share. I've been wanting to talk about this a little bit for a while. Decided, doing this walk would be a good time to just share some thoughts. Not giving anyone advice or anything, but perhaps more thinking over situations, perhaps for some. But, I've had a lot of situations lately, even with my daughter and some friends, and even one of my YouTube friends mentioned about it as well, that they're being attacked now, more recently, for not wearing, these masks. And I am not by any means necessary saying do not wear the mask, but I feel that it has a lot of symbolic meaning as well, things that we can think about or should think about, or at least I am, because that's how I am. But it seems like just like they bottled water, or whomever had the idea to bottle water, some are coming up with, I see birds making a nest. They'll come up with ways to bottle air. Just sit and think about that for a minute with this mask situation. And the current mask that most people are wearing now, for the general public that I've seen, the most appropriate ones are the ones that protect everybody from you. Even in the hospital, these surgical masks, that's the purpose of the surgical mask. And over half of the people that over half of the people that I've seen just in the general public, and the other half, have purchased the ones, on Amazon with the different designs. But the other people have these masks, these flimsy masks that basically, if you blow your breath out of it, you can feel it on your hand. And if someone was to blow something over your mouth, you can feel the air on your chin, your lips. So if you can feel that air coming in, my thought is that these microscopic so-called viruses can also get through it. Just my thought. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. And then some people are not wearing it appropriately. They taking it down because it is uncomfortable to wear. They're having it on their chin, therefore contaminating everyone, so-called, or contaminating their mask, and then putting it back on their face because they breathed on it on the outside. So if I really could or wanted to basically really think about, germs, I can probably even do a video on germs, which I have done that with elementary school children with germs. I could do that also, but I don't think it's really worth the time to really waste, which is the obvious, but I don't know why we're not really thinking about it right now, but for some reason we're not. Anyway, the type of mask that we are wearing in the facilities is what we call an N95. And you have to be fitted for it because it have to be sealed, and you have to go through this certain test to make sure microscopic organisms aren't able to get in. So it needs to be a good seal on it. So your chin needs to be measured, so to speak, and your nose needs to be measured, so to speak, to get the appropriate seal so nothing can get in. And then on top of that, you need negative pressure room to hold the virus in so it's not spreading. And from my last recollection, the earth is not negative pressure. So if it's airborne or can be blown from the wind or the atmosphere, it's being spread. So I don't know. That's just my 2 cents on it. Just thinking, just on the surface level, basically, to get the wheels turning as to what these masks are basically representing, you know. And I'm not necessarily saying that I don't wear the mask, because I do, but people are being attacked, as I mentioned, which is what I started with, I believe. Not wearing the mask. My daughter mentioned that someone ran behind her, told her she needed a mask or she could purchase one at the counter. And she was offended by it, because we know this type of mask is not protective for you, and basically minimal protection from others from you. So it's so confusing, but not confusing, but it seems like there's something else behind it, and you can make your own judgment or your own decision as to what it might symbolize or mean. And also, people are saying that they're going to stay home to be protected from the virus, and I hope that they are protected. But we also have to think about, a home. How are you really protected from the home? Maybe you have some protection, but not a lot. They prevent movement, which prevents contamination. But if we think about homes, most homes, you have to open your windows sometimes. You open your doors sometimes. You have cracks and leaks in your home. So that's not total protection, even though it's some. You have to think about what you can bring into the home. If you breathe, because we collect all types of things in our nostrils, even though the hair in our nostrils protect us, but some is still contained within our nostrils, just something to think about, I'm not saying or negating saying not to stay at home or to minimize your movement, but I still wanted to add some thought to that if you haven't already thought about it, because some people surprisingly have not thought about it. They're mostly just focused on doing what they're told to do for their own safety. And I've gotten in a lot of trouble for that one in my childhood, because I always had questions, always wanted to know, I always knew that there was more. And I was a good girl. I did what I was told, very respectable. Never was in a fight. Minimal punishments. I'm not saying I didn't get any, but I was a very good girl. But I always had questions. My grandma used to call me too grown or mannish or whatever, but she knew I was a good girl. But she's like, sometimes you just have to not speak of what you know. So I'm learning, not learning, I do that. I don't speak all I know, of course, but some things I do say. It's starting to drizzle a little bit now, but I love the rain and the freshness of it, and the wind is blowing. It's a beautiful day. But the main concern that I have with these masks, it holds in the breath, the true breath. People aren't able to take deep breaths and talk and express themselves, and you don't get the total picture of who people really are. And it's definitely going to be enforced, because it might be even law. If you're not wearing a mask, you are putting other people in danger, so you are endangering others. So I'm not surprised that this come to this, or be more of an enforcement. I'm not surprised, but looking at squirrels, I am concerned. I don't know if you can see them. I am concerned of the breath that is taken from us. Our breath, our deep breaths. People are afraid to come out. Like now, I've been walking for about an hour. I haven't seen anybody out. And it's about, I started walking about 10. It's about 11 something now. So nobody is out. So, but, and usually my neighborhood, people are usually walking, especially if it's nice. But anyway, it's just sad that people, aren't able to take deep breaths and inhale and exhale and get in that good prana and relax. And the breath is powerful because it gives life. And, like I said before, they bottled water, and I guess they're going to be bottling air soon, And who they are, I don't know. And, not saying that I don't wear the mask to stay in cohesion and not in violation. I do wear my mask, but definitely I wear the mask to protect, patients if I'm working with them. But, I have to be careful because if I wear it too much, they cause my nose to bleed. I thought it was something else at one point, but if I have it on too long, it causes a nosebleed. And with the N95, unless you have a humidifier in it, you can't wear that for long because oxygen or air cannot move. So you're gonna get carbon dioxide poison. So you have to have that humidifier in it because you cannot wear that mask for long. The N95, trust me, I know you cannot wear it for a very long time. Just wanted to come forth and just put in the thought, more bluebirds, put in the process that wearing a mask is now becoming or being enforced, that it must be done because people will get offended and people are coming up to you, why don't you have your mask on? You're putting all of us in danger. Okay. And people are gonna benefit from making masks financially because, it's gonna be a moneymaker. We all gonna have to wear masks or we will be in violation or putting other people's lives at risk and keeping the virus alive, until maybe perhaps they get a vaccine, and that way we all be immune. I don't know, just a thought. Anyway, just something to think about. If you don't wear the mask, just be cautious because people are getting on the fence about it, and people in the community are approaching each other, and people or clerks or owners of businesses are chasing you down, not letting you in unless you have a mask. It's going to be more of a thing. Anyway, just wanted to share that. You all be careful, and maybe perhaps I'll come back again later. Take care.